really exciting beer for us. We just released it about a month ago to distribution in cans. And the reason that we're really excited about it is it's really hitting a part of the market that hasn't really been represented yet. Even though that it is a summer style and very crushable, it also has everything that you want in the flavor. So it's got dried pineapple, it's got subtle fruity and esters that are brought out from that Belgian yeast character. So it's a very playful beer, and it's very fun, and it also has its own personality, and is one reason why we chose the name Goin Stag and then put a dancing stag on the can itself, is because it's a very playful beer. It's a very drinkable beer that you're going to want to have with your friends at the pool or the lake. But it's not necessarily just like, let's say, a Kolsch, which is just super crushable. This one is just as crushable, but still has representation of a huge bouquet of flavors. And so it's still rich, but at the same time very crisp. And the nice thing about this hop, or this beer, is it's really hopped in fermentation to give it a really lively hop character on the nose and mouth, so that it really balances that sweetness that Belgian beers usually have. Now, this style of beer is rarely done, and normally in Belgium, the Belgian singles are normally kept within the monasteries itself. So usually the monks are the only ones that drink this beer, but there are a few that trickle out into the public. And the reason I've even had people say, is Belgian singles, is that even a style? And it is, and it's a very traditional style to the Trappist style beers. And this is very indicative to it. It's got a lot of hop character to balance all that sweetness, but also at the same time it has a really ester forward profile that comes from the Belgian yeast strain that we use in house. So it's the same yeast strain that we use in our triple and quad, and it really gives it the backbone that it really needs to become a pretty dry and drinkable beer, but also at the same time have some complexities that open it up to a lot of different people that not necessarily really just want to have a Kolsch, which is really drinkable, but they also want some flavor to it. So we think, and are really excited about it, because it's kind of opening it up to the market a little bit wider. It's in most liquor stores right now. If it's not in the liquor store that you frequent, just ask them and they can get it. Yeah, like I said, it's got a really cool, almost dehydrated pineapple flavor going on in it alongside those ester profiles, and it has a really neat balanced bitterness from the hops, and also a really cool floral bouquet of hop character in the aroma that comes from the dry hop area. One thing that I haven't said about this beer yet is it is a smash beer, which is pretty interesting because we only use one malt and one hop within this beer, which means single malt, single hop. So we call it smash. And so it really gives both of those ingredients a really good platform to tell you, hey, this is who I am. This is the quickest I've ever written a recipe, because we were kind of joking around one day, and we're like, hey, we had a fermenter open. We were like, hey, what do we want to brew? And we were like, well, we need to hit all the Trappist styles. So I was like, all right, well, let's do a single. And within 5 minutes, Ben and I were talking, and he was like, well, what if we did, the beer with this malt? And I was like, well, if we did it with that malt only, why don't we do it with this hop only, and then make it a smash beer? And then about 5 minutes later, I wrote the recipe, went back into the brewery, brewed it, and then it was in our tap room almost 2 weeks later. So it's probably the fastest I've ever turned around a recipe and brought it to the public, and it was a hit right off the bat. So cheers to everybody out in Tulsa, and thank you for the support. And we love what you guys are doing in the craft beer industry as consumers and supporting everybody here in the community. It's a really neat thing to be a part of this movement within Tulsa, growing and being able to really be supported to create creative things like this and have it not flop. So